So I'm back. Made it through the traffic, and I just crossed into New York. Thank you, Lord. I'm sorry, Connecticut is just... So I probably should have started by introducing myself. Again, my name is Jeff Bizzarro. Spelled with a B. B-I-Z-Z-A-R-R-O. Bizzarro. Italian, partially Italian. Welsh. I'm an American. It's Miss Annie. Miss Annie's got a P, and I got a P. I had my last Dunkin' before I left Connecticut this morning. So that's the rest is I'll find it. So introduced me up. So I'm from I came here to Connecticut 2 years ago from Alaska, Fairbanks, Alaska, where I lived for 24 years, raised a family, got 3 awesome sons. What's up, boys? Who are all still there. My middle son is active duty Air Force, and he was he's now stationed back home. And what's up, trooper? Peace, yo. Yeah, I'm wanted in 10 states. I'm joking. My son's active duty Air Force got stationed in Alaska, his hometown, because he did 2 hardship tours back to back. He did Korea and went to Africa. In fact, his Air Force unit, made, I think, like Air Force history. They were literally the first boots on the ground, setting up staging for follow-on forces in Niger, Africa, where they are apparently going to be building an air base. So, yeah, that's what you don't hear about on television. That's our next quagmire to be wrapped up in, because I'm sure everyone's familiar with Boko Haram, that old group, and who's pledged their loyalty and alliance with ISIS. So when they found out the Americans were there, thank God my son's unit completed their mission and left. The next unit that came in, this was in the media not long ago, I think 5 or 6 of them were ambushed and killed, airmen. So my son made it out, thank you, Lord. My other sons are, again, in Alaska. I came to Connecticut shortly after I got my battle buddy back here. And I came here to start fresh, start a new life, I guess, so to speak. I had a relationship and it didn't work out, and for whatever reasons, I'm not going to get into that. And so, but through that, I found a new mission, purpose in life. Again, was to help veterans. And so I spent the 2 years in Connecticut and doing that. Veterans Base Camp, I was involved in a lot of different veterans organizations. And one thing I have to say about Connecticut, and my experiences there, is that they do a lot for veterans. They really do. And there's so many organizations out there that are trying to reach out and help them. But again, it's I think they're just scratching the surface, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. There's so much more that needs to be done. So that's I guess is my purpose for doing all this, is to raise awareness for that, because it has become there's such an overwhelming need to reach out and grab these dudes and pull them, and dudettes, and pull them in and get them help that they need. When I say dude, I meant female soldiers, female veterans. They have a whole separate issue that's not talked about much, and that's MST, military sexual trauma. That alone is as should be, is an issue, and it's not talked about much. Nor is what they call moral injury. Moral injury is something that's unfamiliar to most people, and I'm not going to pretend like I know all the answers to that. I just know that I know what that is because I've experienced it. And so, getting back to my introduction, I went to Iraq in 2006, and I went as a private military contractor. And so I'm not here to do stolen valor or whatever, any of that stuff. And I would never do that to my brothers and sisters. And so I signed a year contract. The reason why I did that is that I was on active duty Army. I got out in Alaska. I went into the Alaska Army National Guard. I was with the 207th Infantry LRSD unit, LRSD Det 4, which they no longer exist. They were reclassed to a scout unit. And so, but anyways, I was given permission from my chain of command to take a year off to go over as private security contractor, private military security contractor for an organization which I'm not going to mention because I don't want to get sued or something. And so the reason why I went there, again, my wife at the time was diagnosed with cancer, stage 3 colorectal cancer, and she was fighting. Her, strongest person in the world. We were 3 years into this battle with cancer, and none of the protocols, treatments that she was receiving was working. And so all she was doing is suffering and puking and losing her hair, and all that comes with cancer. And it was brutal to watch. It was brutal for her. But God bless her that she, you know what, she never ever for a second complained, not once. Man, she's literally the toughest person in the world that I've ever met. And I met some tough dudes. And so we started seeking alternative holistic type therapies. And of course those aren't covered under insurance, and they're very expensive. This one in particular we were doing, it's called IPT therapy, integrated potentiated something, I forget. But it was it's what we decided to do. And so I took her from Alaska down to Nevada to get these treatments. And before we did that, we contacted the 5 top cancer hospitals in the United States: Fred Hutchinson in Washington, Sloan something in New York. Sorry, TBI in effect. Bad. Dana-Farber out of Boston, and some others. But anyways, I contacted them all, but sent them all, Terry's, my wife, all her medical records to them all, and they all came back with the same thing, that if she was with them under their care, they would be giving her the same therapy, maybe in a different form or something, but maybe more aggressive, maybe this, but whatever, it wasn't working, man. And so the cancer entered her lymph system and started to spread. And so that's when I knew it was time to react, because what they were doing wasn't working. It spread. And so when it does that, that means it can travel anywhere throughout your body. And so it did. It went to her spine, went to her liver, it went to her brain. And so she started to deteriorate. I can't sit back and watch that happen. I didn't know what to do. So went to Nevada. Then I took her to the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida. After we did our therapies, we spent 3 months, I think 2 or 3 months in Nevada doing this. therapy and got awful sick. Oh my God, was she sick? Horrific. And so when we did that, so during this time, you know, in contact with a buddy of mine, Dustin. What's up, Dusty? New love, who got me on this contract to go to Iraq. And so my parents, my mother and father-in-law, her parents, lived in Florida, and so we found a doctor in Tampa who could continue the same IPT therapy for her while she could stay with her folks in Ocala. And after we went through the Mayo Clinic, and so she would continue the therapy while I went to Iraq to get very well paid. The money was crazy sick, and what I do, I would have done anything. I mean, I would have taken all that stuff on to myself in order to save my wife's life. And I'm not here to try to be a hero or have a glamour moment. It just, that's what it was. That was reality, man. I would have done anything to save her life, and if that meant risking my own, then yeah, that's what people who love each other do, right? So that's what I did. Getting back to who I am and how and why I went to Iraq and how I got PTSD and TBIs and all this other stuff. And so I got a rest area coming up, and I really got to pee, and so does Nanny. So I'll get back to this here and try to keep my thoughts straight and continue on. But remember, my vision for this, I've never done this before. I'm doing this with an iPhone. I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. But mine is to raise awareness for veteran suicide. Hello, cop. That's it. That's my purpose. And I'm going to try to document it, and who knows if it goes anywhere. All I know is that something needs to be done. So I'm going to get off at this rest area coming up here. Oh, look at the pretty mountains. It must be the Poconos or something. So I'm going to go pee. And Danny's got to go pee. Check back soon.